Hello, I'm Bliznub, and welcome to Building the Best. Today we're going to be looking at the Dread, as I believe it is probably the weapon most deserving of these shiny new Operation Shadow Dot Operation Shadow Dot mods. You heard. I'm not correcting myself. Anyhow, the Dread is an absolutely fantastic weapon, and honestly, if you ever get this thing from the Stalker, it is so worth trying out. Now, what we have with this thing basically is the highest crit chance in the game. I believe it's equal to the Amprex and Synapse, and it is definitely the highest crit chance for bows. Although the crit multiplier is only 2 times, it doesn't really matter, because with Point Strike we can easily get this crit chance above 100% and have guaranteed yellow crits every shot. And a decent chance for red crits. Red crits. Wow, I'm doing well today. Moving rapidly on, what we are going for here is a simple crit build. Now, we start off obviously with Serration and Split Chamber, and I should say, please, Heavy Cal will boost your damage, but I would not recommend it, especially as this build is going to be using Argon Scope, which is my next point. We have Point Strike getting us up to 125% crit chance, and we have Argon Scope, which will, roughly speaking, boost our crit chance up to 180% after a headshot whilst aiming. It is a little, how can I say, situational. But honestly, if you're going to be dealing with fodder enemies, there is no need to aim, but if something will survive just a regular unaimed hit, then you can go for a, you aim down sights, you go for headshots, your damage will boost up fantastically, and you'll be able to deal with tougher enemies. So I think that whilst situational Argon Scope is extremely useful, the same would go for bladed rounds, because it is on kill, so that's going to be fairly constantly active, but only actually works whilst you're aiming. Moving on. So we have Point Strike and Argon Scope giving us roughly 180% crit chance, and we have Vital Sense for 4.4 times crit multiplier, and bladed rounds for another boost equal to Vital Sense, pushing us up to 6.8 times crit multiplier. And given that we have over 100% crit chance, we're going to get red crits a lot of the time. And the way they work is quite simple, really. When we get a red crit, I mean, obviously, with 108% chance, we have roughly an 80% chance of a red crit. And when that happens, it will be, assuming Bladed Rounds is in effect, 6.8 times multiplied by 2 minus 1. So it will be 12.6 times crit multiplier, give or take. Give or take, whether or not you use Bladed Rounds. So that's an insane amount of damage, especially when you consider that this weapon is currently pumping out 2,000 slash damage thanks to Fanged Fusillade over here. And as always, guys, if you don't have Fanged Fusillade, I appreciate quite a lot of you don't. Hellfire. Job's a good one. But personally, I'm going to be using Fanged Fusillade. Use whatever elemental mod you like. Just a suggestion. And finally, for this rather simple build, I suppose, we have Speed Trigger over here. Now, Speed Trigger is personal preference because I can't stand the slow draw of some bows, as since the Rakta Cernos, and we have realised just what exactly a bow can do if it has fast draw speed, honestly, I just can't not have it. So Speed Trigger is on there because personally I feel like the charge rate is pretty good. But you could go for Shred if you don't mind the slower draw speed and you get extra punch through. Obviously Dread has passive punch through, being a bow. Or if you want even more draw speed, Vile Acceleration will do you fantastically, although it will lose you a bit of damage. So, I have talked about this weapon for far too long. I'm going to go demonstrate this damn thing. So, where are we going to murder? You know what? I should do the sortie. What are we up against? Corpus, Radiation, Defense. Not okay. I'm actually going to take this to the relay real quick. Or will I? Actually, I won't. There was a bow-only sortie there that I saw at the very last moment. So I will cut this video and join you again after I have reached the third stage of the sortie. Alrighty then. Now, I decided to switch to Loki when I finally got this unlocked because it's Corpus. It's Corpus, and we have a weapon that relies on getting headshots to be able to use its full potential. So this is going to be interesting because, of course, I actually don't know why, but in higher level missions, especially sorties, the Corpus tend to send less humanoid enemies and more Ospreys and Mowers. And of course we don't get any kind of stealth damage multiplier, so don't entirely mind taking a Loki to these. And, oh wow, I missed your head apparently. There we go, I hit your head, and now you're dead. That's a wall. There we go! So you can see when I do get an Argon Scope proc off headshotting all these guys, they are fodder for it. Sometimes means that I have to double tap enemies, but as I mentioned earlier, that is the difference between this and a crowd control weapon, is that this thing is fantastic crowd control, and when you do find an enemy that's difficult against, you simply make sure that you get your Argon Scope and bladed rounds procs going off, and you can deal with them. Against regular fodder, it's going to be fine just firing normally. Now, the one thing I will say though is that I'm up against Corpus here. They are resistant to slash damage, so yeah, it doesn't quite look as impressive as I was hoping. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But anyhow, I promise the damage output from this weapon is fantastic. And one thing I would say is that I probably should... yeah, I probably should have put on an elemental mod instead of Fang Fuselade, which would have made this weapon deal with the Corpus a lot better. Especially toxic damage would have done fantastically. But alas, I wanted to show off the build to its full slashy potential, which is not so effective against the Corpus. No. Which is not so effective against the Corpus, but is still pretty damn effective, you've got to admit. And that 180% crit chance is just fantastic. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you have any ideas for weapons which can use the new mod set, because honestly, I've looked at a bunch of things, and I think a lot of videos, new and old, may need redoing now that these mods are out, but honestly, which ones is it worth doing? I mean, if it's just a one mod change, then there's really no point in it, but you get my drift. So let me know down below. Please like and comment if you've enjoyed this, and subscribe for more. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Bliznub, and this is, of course, The Dread.